Good to have you with us tonight, folks. Thanks for watching. An attempt to inject race into the presidential campaign like never before was exposed today by the New York Times in all its pathetic, desperate, and ugly detail. It's an organized hit job designed to achieve the lowest form of character assassination against President Obama. It's called the defeat of Barack Hussein Obama, the Ricketts plan to end his spending for good. We'll get to Joe Ricketts in just a moment, but this was going to be a $10 million advertising blitz funded by his super PAC. The plan would bring back Jeremiah Wright, the Reverend, in a big way. The world is about to see Jeremiah Wright and understand his influence on Barack Obama. Our plan is to do exactly what John McCain would not let us do. The 54-page proposal for a 5-minute video would portray Wright's black liberation theology. The proposal anticipated charges of race baiting. It suggested hiring an extremely literate conservative African-American as a spokesman who can argue that Mr. Obama misled the nation by presenting himself as a metrosexual black Abe Lincoln. Give me a break. The proposal also suggested enlisting a group of black business leaders to endorse the effort. This morning, Mitt Romney said, well, he hadn't heard anything about it. Once his campaign got their act together, he said this.
As I read the article, I want to make it very clear I repudiate that effort. I think it's the wrong course for a PAC or a campaign. I hope that our campaigns can respectively be about the future and about issues and about a vision for America. I've been disappointed in the president's campaign to date, which is focused on character assassination. I just think that we're wiser to talk about the issues of the day.
Really? Back in February on Sean Hannity's radio show, Romney had no problem bringing up Reverend Jeremiah Wright.
I'm not sure which is worse, him listening to Reverend Wright or him saying that we must be a less Christian nation.
At his press event today, Romney was asked about those comments. Here's what he had to say.
I'm not familiar precisely with exactly what I said, but I stand by what I said, whatever it was. And with regards to, I'll go back and take a look at what was said there.
Certainly refreshing, isn't it? Doesn't know what he said, but whatever he said, he stands behind it. Vice President Joe Biden was asked about the sleazy plan on the campaign trail today.
Guys like that so misunderstand the state of the nation. They act like it's 1942. I mean, I think the public is so far beyond that. And then I heard getting out of the car, it looked like they're not going to do that now. I mean, look, there's certain things that are sort of so morally clear and straight lines about it. It almost doesn't work comment.
White House spokesman Jay Carney also weighed in on the issue today.
To launch a multi-million-dollar divisive attack campaign is not what the American people want. And I think there are moments when you have to stand up and say that that's not the right way to go.
Joe Ricketts is the founder of TD Ameritrade, and his family owns the Chicago Cubs. But once the story broke and the social media went into action in this country, Mr. Ricketts was just tripping all over himself to denounce it. He put out a statement through his super PAC saying that he was, quote, neither the author nor the funder of the so-called Ricketts plan to defeat Mr. Obama. It reflects an approach to politics that Mr. Ricketts rejects. Ricketts can't hide from the truth. The hit job was based on the idea that John McCain had missed an opportunity to attack Barack Obama with an ad about Reverend Wright in 2008. The proposal opened with a quote from Mr. Ricketts. If the nation had seen that ad, they'd never had elected Barack Obama. You know who wants this story? Sean Hannity wants this story. Where has Reverend Wright been for the last 3.5 years? Have you seen him in the news? Has he been out doing any kind of protests, or has he testified on Capitol Hill? Has he injected himself into the political process in this country? Was he around when Barack Obama saved the automobile industry, or signed off on the stimulus package, or did so many other good things when it came to health care? Where was Reverend Wright when that was all happening? He wasn't anywhere to be found, and he hasn't been around the president. This is low rent, it is sleazy, and it's just like Romney. I think Romney is lying when he stands up and says he doesn't know anything about it. I'd like to know how often Mr. Romney has had dinner with Mr. Ricketts, or how often they have talked to one another on the phone. When was the last time they had a face-to-face? You mean to tell me that Romney went on Hannity's radio show and injected the name of Reverend Wright, but just happens to distance himself from it today? I don't buy it. And the good thing about all of this is that this is going to rile up the liberal base in this country to go out and vote and protect their guy, who once again is being attacked with sleaze. Get your cell phones out. I want to know what you think. Tonight's question: are Republicans getting desperate by bringing up Jeremiah Wright again? Text A for yes, text B for no to 622-639. And you can always go to our blog at ed.msnbc.com. We'll bring the results later on in the show. So here's what we have. Mitt Romney says that, he read it. He doesn't have anything to do with it. He repudiates that and everything. Does the Obama camp believe that? Joining me tonight is Ben LaBolt, National Press Secretary for the Obama campaign. Ben, good to have you with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Mr. Wright has not been in the news for the last 3.5 years. Can you tell our audience tonight how much contact has Reverend Wright had with Barack Obama, the President of the United States, since he took the oath of office?
Well, you know, they haven't had any. The president was clear that Reverend Wright's views, which were played again and again during the last campaign, didn't reflect the president's views. You know, today this was a moment that required moral leadership on Mitt Romney's part to stand up to the extreme voices in his party. And once again, Mitt Romney didn't rise to the occasion. You know, you went through the sequence. One of the things that he tried to do today was try to equate this sort of hateful attack with the simple discussion of Governor Romney's economic record that we've had in this campaign. We've seen this from Romney before. The fact is he didn't stand up to one of the symbolic heads of the Republican Party, Rush Limbaugh, when he made those hateful comments against Sandra Fluke. We've been clear, whether it's a supporter of the president or opponent of the president, when they've used rhetoric like this, we've condemned them every single time. The fact is, Romney didn't step up.
Okay. Well, he said he repudiated this style of campaigning. Do you believe him?
Well, then he was asked later in the day about his comments earlier in the year about Reverend Wright that you played not too long ago, and he said that he stood behind them. Look, time and time again, he's had the opportunity to stand up to the extreme voices in his party. That's something that the President of the United States absolutely has to do. Just this week in Virginia, we saw the legislature reject a judge, a very well-qualified judge, just because of their sexual orientation. Governor McDonnell spoke out, but Mitt Romney certainly didn't.
All right. Mitt Romney is out there complaining about the Bain Capital ads, and he says that this is all character assassination. Here it is.
The purpose of the president's ads are not to describe success and failure, but to somehow to suggest that I'm not a good person or not a good guy. And having a campaign focused on character assassination is one of the things I find offensive, among many others, in the PAC description that came in the New York Times. If that's accurate, why, obviously, that's something I repudiate.
Well, I would have to say that the description that we're hearing from the employees of GST, that Mitt Romney is not a good guy. He's pretty heartless. What is your response to that being character assassination?
Well, you know, Mitt Romney has put forward as his lead qualification to run for the presidency of the United States his tenure as a corporate buyout specialist. He said that represents his economic record. So we did what he asked. We went back and we took a look at the economic record.
So it's not character assassination in any way, shape, or form?
It's simply his economic record. And it turns out that he profited off of bankrupting companies and outsourcing jobs. And the question is that the type of economic philosophy, Romney economics, that the American people want to see in the Oval Office?
All right, then back to the Reverend Wright issue. Have we heard the last of Reverend Wright, or do you expect this plan to be invoked? I mean, this plan is talking about TV ads, billboards, even a plane flying over the Democratic National Convention, at least according to the New York Times. Are we going to hear more about Reverend Wright?
You know, I think the American people absolutely rejected this hateful attack when it surfaced today. Whether you're a Democrat or an independent or Republican, people on all sides of the aisle certainly rejected this. You know, Senator McCain spoke out against these sorts of attacks in 2008, made clear that this was off limits for his campaign. His communications director reafirmed today that was the right decision, that he wouldn't have run these sorts of ads.
Is it race baiting? They wanted to get a conservative black man to be the spokesperson for this. I think Larry Elder was the guy that was mentioned in the ad. in the report? Is this race baiting?
I think there's no question that it was directed towards the most extreme elements of the Republican Party, and that Romney had an obligation to speak out against those extreme voices.
So is that a yes or no? It is race baiting?
Here's the question I would ask, is whether Romney will speak out against those extreme voices, or whether he will lead and stand up to that faction of the party, or whether he will actively court those extreme voices in an attempt to win the presidency.
Well, it sure seems like race baiting to me. Ben LeBolt, good to have you with us tonight. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Remember to answer tonight's question there at the bottom of the screen and share your thoughts on Twitter at Ed Show. We want to know what you think, always. It's the right wing's latest effort to play the race card. Next, we'll take a closer look at the man behind the $10 million hit job on President Obama that he's now distancing himself from, right-wing activist Joe Ricketts. Richard Wolff and Sam Stein will weigh in on that. And later, Senate candidate Elizabeth Warren joins me tonight. She's going to tell us how we can fix this mess on Wall Street and prevent the banks like J.P. Morgan from causing another economic meltdown and collapse. We're right back.